Hello my friends. It has been a while since I shared an Agatha Christie type video, and years ago I shared a video sharing my favorite Agatha Christie and my least favorite, and it was high time that I updated my favorite Agatha Christie books. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I often get people asking me like, where should I start with Agatha Christie? So we're going to start with like, these are my favorites. Start with these, and then we're gonna go into like favorite but like not quite as much. Couple things to note. I'm gonna start with some popular ones to begin with because they are popular for a reason. They are excellent. I'm going to move into some that are like less popular, and the thing to note is that some of these are in a series with one of her detectives, either Poirot or Miss Marple, and I do not think those need to be read in order. She does have at least one of her series that definitely needs to be read in order, and I'll mention that yet. And then some of them have no detective whatsoever. If you like Agatha Christie, I have a ton of other videos where I talk about her books, where I try to solve her books, see if I can figure out the whodunit. Usually not. And let's start with a list. The first one, I actually did a video trying to solve this one recently, and it was my second time reading it, and I didn't remember how it ended. So I don't know if I should be embarrassed, but I feel like that's just the sign of a great writer and also a reader that reads a lot of books and doesn't always retain everything. And then there were none. This is a kind of locked room mystery type thing where we've got a bunch of people that go to an island, and right when they get there, there is the poem, like 10 little soldier boys, and they each start dying off based on the poem. Very interesting. I feel like it's one of her iconic books. There's been so many books that have been written after this that are kind of like based off of this. I just read You Are Fatally Invited in September, and it had those same vibes. I really appreciate the locked room mystery type thing, so definitely a great one to start with. Another one that is always recommended, was made into a movie, is Murder on the Orient Express. I've only read this one once yet. It was one of my first that I read by her, and I really enjoyed it. We are on the Orient Express. Poirot is our detective for this one, and there's a snowdrift and the train stops, and they find a passenger dead in his room. He has been stabbed a number of times, and so while the train is stopped before the people can flee, Poirot tries to figure out who done it. Very unique, very well done. I would love to reread this knowing the ending, seeing if I can like pick up on the clues. Who knows with me, but really enjoyed it. This next one I feel like is not quite as popular, but it is like one of my top favorites. I remember getting to the ending and being like, love it. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Our narrator is I think he's the doctor of the area, and he tells us this story. So Roger Ackroyd has been poisoned. He knew that the woman he loved had been harboring a guilty secret. She poisoned her first husband, and yesterday she killed herself, and then Roger Ackroyd dies. And yeah, obviously like they're mysteries, they're mostly whodunits. There are clues. I think you could figure it out. I pretty much never do, like I said, so I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to say too much, but this was one that I like. These first two, and then there were none, and Murder on the Orient Express. I knew those were popular. This one I had no idea, and I had no idea I was gonna love it so much. So it's a favorite for a reason. Okay, we've got two Poirots. Let's get some Miss Marple in here. She is an absolute favorite of mine. One of my favorites is A Murder is Announced. This one is set in a little village of Chipping Cleghorn. And there is an article in the newspaper that says, a murder is announced and will take place on Friday, October 29th at Little Paddocks at 6:30 p.m. A bunch of people show up. I think they also got specific invitations. And everyone's paying attention, like waiting for a murder to occur. And sure enough, it does. And we got to figure out who done it. I love Miss Marple because she is just so subtle She is an observer of human nature. She remembers people from the village where she lives and grew up, and she sees bits of her old neighbors in people in the mysteries that she's trying to solve, and that helps her solve it. I just love her, just like knitting in the background, you know, very unassuming, and she just comes out and solves the mysteries. Another favorite, although she's barely in this one, is 450 from Paddington. So in this one we have, it's also got another title, What Mrs. Gilcuddy Saw. A bunch of Agatha Christie's books have multiple titles. So this lady, her name is Elspeth McGilcuddy. She was actually on the way to go visit with Miss Marple. She's on the train, and when she's on the train, another train pulls up alongside and then goes past. Well, while it's alongside, she looks out the window and she sees someone get murdered. Or she says she saw someone get murdered, but people, I don't think they can find the body. There's no other witnesses, no suspects, no case, no corpse. And of course, Miss Marple figures it out. Yeah, Miss Marple is almost not at all in this one, but she is a little bit. So always love that. Then the series that I think you need to read in order is the Tommy and Tuppence series. So we follow Tommy and Tuppence. They are younger, they're friends, I think, at the beginning, and they end up getting married, and like their relationship grows, and it's just a sweet side story to the mystery. I cannot find my copy of The Secret Adversary, so I've got this bind up, but The Secret Adversary is their first story, and they are trying to find Jane Finn, and in the process encounter international espionage, kidnapping, and murder. And I just fell in love with Tommy and Tuppence. I know there is is it a series on BBC that features them? I would like to watch it at some point, but I'm terrible at watching things, so we'll see if it ever actually happens. But I think there's 5 or 6 books that have Tommy and Tuppence, and I just really enjoyed their sweet relationship in addition to the mysteries that were occurring. Okay, these next 2 were like some of my favorite videos to film. The first one here, Peril at End House. This is the first Agatha Christie that I just decided on a whim to try to solve, and I have a whole video sharing my thoughts as I go. It was so much fun. I've always loved mystery books, and therefore been like, oh, it'd be so fun to be a detective. But I would be so bad at it. I'd just be so bad at it. So in this one we follow, I think it's a Poirot book. Yes, it is. He is on vacation, and this lady tells him about these 3 near-death accidents that she's had in the last couple of days. And she's sure that someone's out to get her. And so she's telling him like what's been going on, and he solves it, as he does. One thing to note is a lot of people are like, well, if you read enough Agatha Christie books, you can, you know, see her different tells, you can figure it out. And I'm like, I like the mystery of actually not being able to figure out one of her books. If I do solve it, I do feel that like, ooh, I solved it. But if I don't, I love that like, ooh, I didn't see that coming. Like that's even better for me. So as much as it's like maybe I should be embarrassed that I'm terrible at solving them, I'm enjoying them more if I don't. And one year I worked on trying to solve one every month, and I realized that's too many Agatha Christie's too close together. I have not yet finished all of her books, but that's partially on purpose because once I'm done, it's not usually as fun to reread them. Sometimes it can be, but I'm kind of trying to drag out her books. The last one in my absolute favorites was so fun to try to solve, and that is Crooked House. This one definitely has slightly locked room mystery vibes because we have a bunch of people that live in a mansion, one big happy family, and I think it's the man of the house, he dies, and then he's got a couple of kids and grandkids in the house, plus some servants, and we need to figure out who killed him. There is also a movie about this one, which I watched, I think in the winter, and really enjoyed. definitely went down as one of my favorites. And then this next stack is like, they're still my favorites, but they're not quite like, I wouldn't say start with them like I would with these other ones. And this first one, I feel like it needs a disclaimer because it is not a traditional mystery. It's more of a gothic thrillery type book. And so I feel like if I had gone into it with the right mindset, knowing what I was getting into, I would have liked it. I didn't really like it when I read it because I didn't know what I was getting into. But now that it's been a while, it's one of my favorites, if that makes sense. This is Endless Night. So we are set in this beautiful large house, Gypsy's Acre, and it's like very remote. It's got those like creepy mansion thriller vibes. So we've got this man, his name is Michael Rogers, and he marries an heiress and then, you know, starts to live in this house with her. And he's told that the place is cursed and all sorts of weird things start to occur. Yeah, so it was like one that I didn't really enjoy when I was reading it, but afterwards I was like, oh, now I like it. I've had a few books like that in the past, and it just, my expectations going into a book can definitely change things. I would like to reread this one. Next, we've got another Miss Marple. This one is Sleeping Murder. And I liked the premise of this one. So we've got Gwenda. She moved into a new house. I feel like her and her husband moved from Australia or something like that. They moved to England. They bought this house. I think she just bought it kind of like on a whim. She had a few like things that she wanted and she bought it. And then after she bought it, she started thinking certain things like, oh, this wall, it could really use a door right here. Like, I feel like it needs a door. And so the guys that are renovating start to take down the wall and they're like, there used to be a door here. And then she starts to think, oh, this room would look really good with this wallpaper. And then they start to like do some of the wallpaper and they realized that's the old wallpaper. So she's a little worried. She meets Miss Marple and she's like, am I hallucinating? Like, am I losing my mind? What is going on here? And then in addition, she keeps having these dreams and this fear of the stairs. And I won't say anything else. This one definitely had more thriller vibes than some of hers do, I think. I loved it. One of my very first Agatha Christie's, so I think it's a favorite because of that. It's just got like nostalgia, is The Moving Finger. This one, we have a lady that we're told that she commits suicide. That's what the doctor rules it. But there are some suspicious circumstances. Her final note said, I can't go on. And Miss Marple's like questioning that verdict, partially because there is an outbreak of like hate mail going on. These typed letters that are showing up at people's houses with different things being written about them. And yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure this is necessarily one of her best works, but because it has that like nostalgia for me, it's one of my favorites. And then the last one is The Man in the Brown Suit. We've got a young lady that is coming to London, and while she's waiting for a train, she sees a man just lose his footing and fall to his death. He gets electrocuted on the rails. So Scotland Yard says it's accidental, but there was a man that went to examine the body, a man in a brown suit, who examined the body and then raced off, and he left this cryptic message behind. It was 17122 Kilmorden Castle. And so Anne tries to figure this out. This is another one that I tried to solve. I love seeing all my tabs, which are like different, like maybe clues, maybe like, this person's suspicious, or just different things about Agatha Christie's writing. So there you have it. That is a whole bunch of my favorite Agatha Christie, ones to start with, ones to continue if you've read all of my Start With These books. Everyone has different tastes and opinions, especially when it comes to her books. Interestingly enough, this edition, what edition is this? The William Morrow edition, the official authorized edition, has a list on some of its books, the Queen of Mysteries personal favorites, and almost all of her favorites are my favorites. Out of the ones that I shared here, she has The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Murder on the Orient Express, The Moving Finger, and then there were None, Crooked House, A Murder is Announced, Endless Night. And then also Miss Marple complete short stories, which I haven't read all of those, but I do love the ones I have read. So apparently Agatha Christie and I have similar taste as far as that goes. So yes, let me know your favorite Agatha Christie and if you plan on reading any of these.